Well, it's the episode that I don't think anybody specifically asked for, but it's one that I wanted to do. This is the Taylor Swift episode, and I am Brian Sirimaturos, your host of the Tossing Salad podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking with a friend of mine on Instagram. Her name is Karolina. I know how to say that and pronounce that because specifically on the top of her Instagram page, she has it phonetically broken down, Karolina, not Carolina, Karolina. And we are going to be talking about Taylor Swift. She's going to be my Taylor Swift Sherpa to go through. She's the Swiftie here, and we're going to go through Taylor's career and talk about some of the basically drama, the highlights, all that good stuff, Taylor's music, and especially we're going to hit on a little bit of the latest album, Midnights. Before we get into that, I didn't get a chance to rank the songs off of her latest album, Midnights, and I'm going to do that right now, in addition to ranking the 4 color variants of the records. I've got all 4 of them. I will post a bonus episode so that you guys can watch me basically open them up and you guys can see for yourself the 4 variants. Here's the 4 in order of how I think they look. So first one is the mahogany one. Absolutely gorgeous record. If you're going to end up getting one that's going to be kind of different, a different looking record than any other one that you have, the mahogany one I think is the one that is the most different. And then I go with the jade green, the blood moon, and the moonstone blue. Each one of the records was about $27. I can't believe that I ended up buying all 4 variants. I am just an above average Taylor fan. I enjoy her music, but I wouldn't say that I am at the Swiftie level at all. I enjoy her music. I got caught up in buying the records, making the clock, super fun. We talk about that in the podcast coming up. And then on the actual album itself, Midnight's album, I'm going to rank the songs from side A and then rank them side B. And I will tell you, I can be convinced to move the songs around a little bit. So if you disagree with my order, I totally get it. Let me know in the comments, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Let me know what your order is or if I have mine completely wrong. But this is the way that I rank them on each side. It was too hard for me to rank them, so I just went with side A, rank those 1 through 6, and then side B 1 through 6. And I will say, I can actually listen to all the songs. I enjoy the entire album. All the songs I think are really good. There's just some that I think I prefer a little bit more than others. I am not this music snob in a sense that there may be some songs that I just like because the beat's fun. But this is my ranking on Midnights, side A, Antihero, Lavender Haze, Snow on the Beach, Maroon, Midnight Rain, and You're on Your Own, Kid. That is side A. That's how I rank them. Let me know what you guys think. Side B, I have Karma, Labyrinth, Bejeweled, Vigilante Shit, Mastermind, Question, and Sweet Nothing. So what do you guys think? Pretty close to your rankings? Let me know. Just a word of kind of warning going forward on the Taylor interview. I can't believe I've got to say this at the beginning, but we get a little salty in our vocabulary, as does Taylor nowadays, right? We talk about that in the podcast. But I wouldn't necessarily, if you don't care, like if you have some kids that they're listening to the podcast with you in the car or something, and you don't mind some salty language, totally fine. We don't get vulgar. We never get vulgar here on the podcast, but salty language, yes. So we're just like Taylor. We get a little salty. Just letting you know. I don't want anybody surprised or coming after me in the comments that they didn't expect it and their little kids were listening to the podcast. Which, are you letting your kids listen to a podcast called Tossing Salad Podcast? I don't know. I'm not one to judge. Anyways, here's the podcast with Karolina, Taylor Swift episode. because you and I have kind of met each other via Instagram, correct? And it just kind of came up through the gardening type thing back in the day. Although I mean, your account's not really gardening.
No, I tried to do a spin-off just gardening, like homestead type content, and honestly,
Yeah,
I was just too lazy to keep up with it. Like, I had a dog account, and then I had my main account, and then I had the garden thing, and I was like, there's just too much going on here. So I pulled back, but I actually followed you because I was like, I need to find somebody in the same zone that I am, so I know like
right.
where I'm at timeline wise and how bad I suck this year.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I suck also, and this is my worst year probably ever, just in motivation and giving a fuck about this or that. I not to veer off into a negative part of the podcast here, which everybody always loves the tea spilled on negativity or whatever, but you do this for such a long time. Anyways, I've been doing it for 8 years, 9 years, I forget how long. And I get kind of tired of doing the same thing. I love gardening. It's a therapy thing for me, but that's why I spun off into doing the podcast, because one, I have to be doing something kind of different and creative after a certain amount of time, or I zone out and I'm bored with what I'm doing.
Yep, I totally get it. Totally get it.
So this is your first on camera, on air podcast where you're the talent in front,
Yes,
correct?
I like to be behind the scenes, but we made a special exception.
Well, I appreciate you doing that for me. And so, with that being said, I guess this would be your first Taylor Swift specific podcast that you're going to be my expert, my Sherpa through the Taylor Swift fandom.
Let's hope so. I gotta do her
So,
proud.
well, this is a thing that I thought would be kind of fun and interesting. It's a little bit outside of the scope of gardening, but my whole podcast is pretty much taking people that I have met within gardening, and there's just really fascinating people behind the accounts, people that I get along with. You and I have a very unique sense of humor on a lot of different things. I think when we first started kind of talking back and forth, and within the gardening realm, you were the person that whenever I had critter issues, deer coming in or whatever, and if deer needed to be taken care of, and I understand there's a lot of people that are on whatever sides of handling their deer, but when you go through and have deer that completely decimate your garden, you start thinking about, if something were to happen to the deer and I just didn't know about it, so be it. And you were the one that I'm like, you're the closest to me of everybody that I know here on Instagram. I'm literally as a crow flies, but we're kind of separated by that river or something. So it would take forever to get to you, or you to get to my garden.
Yes. I had one slight advantage over you, and that was if the deer were decimating my garden, I could just shoot them and nobody would know.
Yeah. So completely different scenario. So that's how you and I kind of started. But I think
it was the squirrels. You're like, the squirrels are just eating everything. I'm like, shoot them!
and squirrels, I'm just like, at this point, which is kind of, I've actually come across squirrel accounts, people keeping squirrels as pets, either on TikTok or on Instagram. People have like a baby
Oh, they
squirrel
have furniture for the squirrel. There's
yeah,
a squirrel house and a picnic table, and
and so it's just one of those things to where I'm just like, look, I've got enough to kind of go around for a while, but when they become a nuisance, like I said, so be it. Nature takes its course, or a friend or a neighbor takes its course, and there you go.
yeah.
But I thought that the Taylor Swift thing would be a great one-off episode, because there is no doubt that she is this bigger than life brand personality that has been around for, we're in 2022. When did she first come up? Like early 2000s?
She came on the scene at 13. So she was actually born in Pennsylvania and had this dream of like becoming, big in music, and when her parents decided to like take her seriously, they uprooted everybody in the family and moved to Nashville. And she started out as a country music singer. So
And what year basically was that? Because I remember her country album
Ooh, that was I want
or the country
to
phase?
I want to say it was like 2006-ish,
Kind of
maybe.
around the middle, yeah, in that whole area there.
Might have been a little
And I
later.
remember her coming on the scene on the country side of things, and the big buzz with her is that she wrote all of her songs, right? She's a
Yeah.
good songwriter back being so young. And then I listened to her music because that was still at the tail end of me in my country phase. I was very much mid 90s in my college years. I was coming out of my rap phase and my R&B phase into my country phase, which was, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, all
Mm.
that stuff that everybody for the most part kind of listened to late 90s, early 2000s. She came on the scene, and then like the one of the first controversial things that I remember about her, just from reading headlines and stuff, is that, oh, she's leaving country and she's going pop. And like that's when I first started hearing people kind of going after her.
So she, I think the first like really big drama thing that happened with her was she was big in country. Like her first ever hit on the billboards was I think Tim McGraw actually, and that's the first
Mm-hmm.
song I ever heard. And I did not listen to country music. She's 3 years younger than I am, and
Okay.
I didn't start listening to country music until I moved to Missouri, which was like 5 years ago. So I
And
heard her.
she's like 30, right?
She's 32, and I'm
Okay.
35.
32.
So,
Okay.
but I heard her country song on like a pop radio station that I listened to, and I was
Sure.
like, well, it is what it is, but it's catchy. I liked it. I liked the way it sounded.
Right.
The lyrics weren't like they didn't really speak to me, but I liked the way that it sounded, and I'm big on like the sound of music. If I think it's catchy, I'll break out the phone, I'll hit the Shazam, and I'll be like, okay, I'll add it to the
Right.
playlist. But she actually won a Video Music Award um, for like Best Video of the Year, and that's when
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of the Kanye drama started.
I
So
and that I remember that too,
yeah, so
right?
she's like up there giving her speech, like saying thank you, basically like for giving me this, even though like I'm in country music, and he runs up there and he's like, I'm gonna let you finish or whatever, but Beyonce had the best video like of all time, and she just like stood up there. It was like,
Right.
uh, okay. So
And do you think that was kind of like the big pop culture moment that not only just people that listen to that music, but because, I mean, like our parents or whatever, would they see this happening and that kind of put her out there like super big?
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that reacted to it. Like even the president at the time was like, Kanye's a douche. Like
Right.
she's 17 years old when this happened. Like she's just a
Okay.
baby. So she's just up there trying to be like, thank you, I love Jesus and I love my fans. And he runs up there and kind of ruins her moment. And then she went quiet for a little while and I think was like, how do I like bring my head out of the sand and like recover from this? And that's when she
Now,
kind of
your
started.
attraction to her music, like you were casually just like, oh yeah, I mean, I'd like a couple of the songs or something. Was it more the music, or were you more kind of drawn to her personally because you guys are roughly the same age? I'm just kind of curious.
I'm big on like poetry and I really like her lyrics. Like for me, she sometimes she puts out songs where the lyrics like really speak to me. Other times she puts out
Yeah.
songs where it's like the beat, the rhythm, and I just want to dance
Right.
and have a party or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
But I mean, age-wise, I always was just like, oh, she's just so young, but she's really not that much younger than me.
Right.
So
And do you think that as it is right now, because I was talking to my wife the other night and I was like, I don't know necessarily if she still appeals to the younger female demographic, the young girls, like her. Uh, does she, you think? Like, who is her demographic now? Because back then it was definitely the young girls, the preteens, the
yeah,
teens.
it's she still sings about kind of the same stuff. Like the love and falling in love and whatever and heartbreak and whatnot. But the style has changed, I think, a lot. So it went from like the really poppy, like upbeat, kind of faster
Mm-hmm.
songs to and I argued with my sister about this, about the new album. She's like, "What did you think?" And I'm like, I like it, but like I kind of miss like the poppy songs, like the more upbeat, the faster. She's like, "Yeah, I do too." And I was like, "It's kind of indie for me." She's like, "It's not indie." And I'm like, "What is it?" She's like, "Slow pop." Is that even a thing? Slow pop?
Yeah, but I think it also, and not that I'm this music expert or anything like that, but I mean, I think for sure her music has kind of matured a little bit. And I think at some point you're going to come out with like slow, poppy love ballads and stuff like that that are a little different than what they were when she was
I
younger.
kind of feel
But
like
did you,
her last 3 albums were that. And
well,
I
did
love them
you,
all, but it's just I kind of miss like the Shake It Off days, you know? Like
right.
the I knew you were trouble when you walked in, or IDK about you, but I'm feeling 22. Like she's definitely not feeling 22 anymore, I don't think.
Well, I'm sure that we're going to get some more of those songs on the next few albums. And then the other, so here's the interesting thing as a 47-year-old male that is very late to the Taylor scene and listening and just kind of paying attention to her. I think where I finally went from just casually enjoying her music, I never bought her stuff when she came on. I mean, I'd listen to it, obviously very catchy. I respected her writing skills. And I thought that, especially with her videos and what she did with her fans, there was always more value to what she gave back than what people were buying to either get her albums or to go see her. She overdoes, in a positive way. Like she really puts into, it's an event.
Mhm.
Videos are an event.
It's a spectacle. It definitely
Spectacle.
is.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a great way to do it. And for me, what really caught my attention with in the last few years is the issue that she had with her publishing or whatever, where the Scooter Braun,
So
who was her manager or
so
something,
her
explain that to me.
her original record label was purchased by this man, Scooter Braun or whatever, and essentially they purchased like all the masters rights to her first 6 albums. So if she wanted to use her own music on something, like the songs that she, wrote and sang, they could tell her no. So that was a really big thing for her to be able to use her own music. So she fought that legally for quite some time and eventually was able to. That's why she's like re-releasing old albums under Taylor's version because
And
she.
I think that's the thing. That's the baller move that I took notice of her being this savvy business woman
Mhm.
to basically say, okay, well, fuck you. I'll just go re-record all my stuff. And the great thing is like all of the streaming services were like on her side and would only stream, my understanding, would only stream Taylor's version.
Mhm.
So as all of this was kind of happening, I was like, I was getting caught up in the drama as a 40, I don't know when this all took place, but this 45-year-old male. And that's what kind of got me into taking notice and getting caught up in the spectacle that is the drama on the sidelines of her life. And I was like, well, good for her to kind of take control and to try to get back what she thought that. Now, what happened to her happens to like almost everybody in the music industry, right? She wanted the opportunity to buy it
Yeah.
and she
So,
just wasn't given it.
well, the claims are that the guy that sold her record label originally gave her like the chance to buy it, and at the time she wasn't interested.
Mm-hmm.
But whether that's true or not, who knows? And I think a lot of it had to do with like she was filming a documentary for Netflix also, and
Right.
like wanted to use her music in it, because she's got like
Yeah.
videos of her as a kid, like she got a guitar for Christmas and she's so excited, but the music they play in the background, they were like, yeah, you can't use any of it from the first 6 albums. And she was like, what do you mean? Like it's mine, you know?
Right.
So she basically just said, oh, shove it. I'll just do
I
it
mean,
again.
was that just not a badass move for her to do that?
Hell yeah. I mean, the time it takes to record an album, you know what I mean? And to do it 6 times over after you've already done it once, that's crazy. On top of
So what do you,
making new
so
music.
Right. Well, what do you think? I would imagine you've got all of her, basically all of her albums.
Uh,
So you've
Actually,
got,
no, I do
oh, you don't.
not. So record-wise, I've only just started collecting. So the only Taylor Swift record I own is Midnight's the new one. But
Okay.
I do have um a lot of her like CDs, which is like an extinct thing these days. But some of them are signed, so like I'm never gonna get rid of them. So
Wow. So, but how do you feel about having the older music and then now you have Taylor's version? Do you feel like you have to be, I can only listen to Taylor's version and then all of the old stuff is just going to go up on a wall? And do you
no,
prefer the old
I
stuff?
mean no, I think it sounds pretty much the same. You know what I mean? And it's already on my phone. Like I use Spotify for everything.
Yeah.
So if it's already downloaded, and I don't know if they like secretly switched out versions on my Spotify, like we'll take down the original and make it Taylor's version, and I just had no idea, but it's there on the playlist, and when I want to listen to it, I just hit play. So,
Well, see, I'll be curious if you look into that after the podcast because I thought the understanding was like Spotify and all the streaming services were all going on her side. And anytime anybody wanted to stream her music, the default would be Taylor's version if she had re-recorded that. So
and I would like to assume that if you were to go into a record store right now and buy an original album, that it would be like astronomically more expensive, you know,
right,
than
right,
the Taylor's versions now or whatever.
right. Now, are you going to go? So you're just now getting into vinyl.
Yes.
You just said you bought the. You said you bought the latest. Well, the only vinyl record that you have is Midnight's, which is her latest
I
album.
bought the
Which
lavender edition.
the Lavender.
Yes, the lavender. It was a special, I think, Target collaboration or whatever. I saw the first four, kind of drop, and I missed it. I missed like the pre-order now or whatever, and they were like sold out. But when I saw the announcement for the lavender one, I was like, okay, I'm jumping on the bandwagon. So I did buy it.
Well, and so I'm going to be very upfront and honest with you and everybody else. So I do have, I think the lavender is the lavender specifically the Target one then. So is there five
Yeah,
versions?
there's the first four. It's like there's a blue one, there's like jade, mahogany, and some other one. See, I'm such a terrible fan that I don't even know, but if you turn it over, they make like a clock and a picture and like the she's very into numerology, like and
Right.
Easter eggs and all kinds of crazy stuff. So the
Well, I want
Swifties
to
love
show
it.
you. So here's
So
the
you have the blue
blue
one.
moonstone. And then this is, I forget what color this one is. Here's the mahogany.
So are you trying to sell these at some point or what?
And then I picked up the blood moon. So I've got all four. I can make the clock. And how and why I did that, I can't tell you. I
See,
got caught up in the whole phenomenon. And I'm like, why am I buying four fucking copies?
I love her, I do, but that's why I was like, I walked into a record store in Kansas City when I was at a concert this past weekend, and they had three of the other colors, right? And I sat there and I'm like, it's only like, I don't know, 20, $27, whatever, and I could have like three more,
Right.
and then I was like, I'm not fucking buying three of the same thing. Like, just no. So I did not. I resisted the
And
urge.
you're a self-described Swiftie, you said,
I feel
right?
like there are different levels of
I think there's
of
only one level if you're a
Swiftyism.
Swiftie.
No way, though, because there's different kinds. They literally have different kinds of Swifties. Like you could be a like a Gaylor, right? So have you heard of a Gaylor before?
No, explain.
So
This is why I'm having you on.
so the Gaylor Swifties are like
Uh-huh.
convinced that she's bisexual.
Okay.
And so like in this record, Lavender Haze, they were like, that's definitely like a song about bisexuality because lavender is like a big color, for that kind of thing
Okay.
and whatever. And then she actually came on and like interviewed with somebody and she was like, yeah, no, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's actually like about my boyfriend or whatever. And they were like, well, shit. And it's just there are different kinds of Swifties. They've like I think they're called stans. So the stans are like the super extreme Swifties. So if she like
Like the stalking kind?
no like the okay
Oh,
so um have you ever heard of like the Netflix show Jenny and Georgia?
no.
So there was this Netflix show Jenny and Georgia, and I guess at one point in one of the episodes they made a joke about her that was like, oh, so and so has been with more men than Taylor Swift has. And she like found out about it and tweeted like, hey, at Ginny and George at Netflix or whatever, 2010 called and it wants its like sad, misogynistic comment back or whatever. And all the Swiftie fans got that were like, that saw it, that were pissed off. They were like, well, fuck these people. And like went on Netflix and like totally tanked all of the reviews for the show and it never got
Right.
renewed. She
Wow.
shut it down. So there,
Well, it doesn't surprise me. And the Swifty level type people that follow her, I mean, will go to every end of the earth to defend and promote and everything. And again, I don't know what got into me. I was just going to buy one. And then I was like, oh, but I can get four and make a
I
clock,
love
which I'm
it.
not going to make a
Yeah, I
clock.
love that you did that.
But I will say, when I pulled out each of the records as I was looking at them, again, each of the inserts were different. So she wasn't lazy about that. And then the records are just beautiful pieces. Like the mahogany one, I'm like, oh my, I mean, it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's just beautiful. And I'm listening to it and I'm like, my God, I'm a 47-year-old guy. What am I doing? What level am I? And
I haven't even opened mine yet.
oh, you haven't?
No. And I might not. Like the CDs that I have that are signed by her, I have Folklore and Evermore. Those are still in the
Yeah.
plastic too.
Well, if they're signed, you don't want to open them up, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't ever plan on getting rid of them, but you know.
So when you say signed, are they signed? You bought them like that, or you actually took it and she signed them?
I have a friend that works in the music industry that has
Stop.
blessed me with these as like Christmas gifts throughout the years.
Oh,
So
will you
she's like,
will
"Oh,
you
it's no
take a
big deal. I
picture?
just pulled a string or whatever," and I'm just like, "Oh my God,
Will you take a picture and post it to your Instagram or something later on?
I
And then when
will."
this airs, I'll have everybody go and take a look at that, because I think that would be cool, because the people that are gonna listen to this episode, they're not gonna be the people that hate her, right?
I would
So
hope not. I don't know.
the people that are gonna
So
what?
that's weird to me. Like I know that you can like not like somebody, but to like come out and be like, I hate her. Like, have you ever met her? No. I mean, you might not agree with the stuff that she does. I don't agree with all the stuff that she does, but I don't ever think that I could sit down and be like, I definitely hate this person. Like Kanye, he's a douche, but I don't hate him because I don't know him. You know?
Well, okay, so here's an interesting segue here. So I ran a poll on my Instagram page the other day,
I
and
saw that.
I want your take, your interpretation of this. Now, the people that follow me, I don't have a scientific breakdown of everybody, but for the most part, they're all people within garden community. 80%, according to the statistics on there, are women, 20% male. And so take that for what it's worth. So her album comes out. I'm getting ready to do, or thinking about doing, a podcast. And I ran a poll because I had a few people make comments about, I pick up on certain things because everybody's playing her one song right now. The
Anti-hero.
Hi, It's Me.
Yeah,
The Anti-Hero.
anti-hero.
Yeah. Which I love. I love that song. It's a very catchy song. And so I wrote a thing. I said, I'm a totally serious question. Where are you on Taylor Swift? And I had 4 things that you could vote on in the poll. The 4 things were Swiftie level, I like her music, indifferent, or vomit, the vomit emoji. And so at the Swiftie level, 11%. I like her music, 29%. Indifferent, 42%. And then the vomit emoji, 18%. Does that
Haters.
surprise you or no?
Um, I would say no because she's been on the scene for a long time. You know what I mean? Like she like is on the radar and then she's not for a while because usually,
Yeah, she'll disappear.
well, her pattern is like every 2 years or so she puts out a new record. So she she actually broke that pattern once. She like released a record in 2014. She would have released one in 2016, but there was more Kanye West drama. That's when she like was a social pariah for a while. So she took a year off and then put out,
Explain that one.
oh
Refresh my memory.
so the that one was um Kanye West wrote a song called Famous, and there was a lyric in that song that was like, me and Taylor Swift are still gonna have sex, and then I made that bitch famous. And so
Okay.
he had said that like he asked her for permission like to use that lyric in his song, and originally it was like no, 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 he never asked her, like she had no idea, or he asked her about using the lyrics in the song, but he never said like I made that bitch famous. And then Kim, who was still his wife at the time, leaked like they were recording this phone conversation between Kanye and Taylor. And so I don't know if Taylor had any idea. I'm assuming not, but they recorded the conversation and like yes, they definitely did ask her for permission, but they never actually said like what the lyrics were going to be. So it was this big thing for a while where the internet was like, she's a liar, like she's making all this up. Oh my God. And, they only showed part of the secret footage that was recorded. Later, the rest of it came out and it kind of cleared her name. So, but
But so after that, and it was, you said about 2015, 2016,
the
and then so she
so
was,
yeah, so she would have released an album in 2016, but she did not. And then the next album came out and it was Reputation. And that's the
okay.
one, where she's basically like, fuck all of you guys.
I
Um,
love the videos out
yeah,
of that
yeah.
album. Yeah.
There's a lot of Swiftie Easter egg conspiracies about that album. Like in some of the music videos, there's like a an image of her like cutting off a plane or something that says like TS6, which would have been like her sixth album or whatever, that was just like canceled. And all the Swifties are like, it's because Kanye like totally put her on blast and she waited to release the album. And so Karma on the new album, everybody's like, it's definitely about that. And like the tie is, there was a previous record that she had written where there was a Kanye diss track that was number 11, and also Karma, which is like what goes around comes around, is number 11 on the new one. So that's definitely about Kanye. Like the conspiracy Swifties like get really into that. So
See, I don't understand half of the conspiracy things and people linking this to that and
oh,
kind of what you were
so
saying there.
so the number
Yeah,
thing
go
is
ahead.
crazy. So she released Midnights on the day that she turned 12,000 years old. Like, how do you plan that in advance? You know what I mean? Like,
That goes back to what I was saying before, that yeah, like but you said, it's a spectacle. It's an event. It's all well planned out. It's more entertainment than just what the music is, the lyrics, and then now how she plans all these things and ties things into the music videos, how they kind of signal, oh my God, well, uh, there were clues that possibly the next re-released album is 1989. Is that the
1989 is already out. They were
already
saying
out?
so like
Okay.
the one that I think you're thinking of is the one that she was gonna release when the Kanye thing happened, and it was supposed to be called Karma, and like it
Okay.
it never came out. So there was like a whole record that she had already written that she scrapped because her reputation, was tarnished. Then she rewrote some of it or scrapped some of it. I don't know, but that's how Reputation was born. So.
I love it. It's just there's so much to kind of dive into,
It's
and
crazy.
for she goes all into.
I mean, there's references in some of her song lyrics. It's like, where was I April 29th? And they're like, okay, there's got to be something about April 29th. Like, where was she? What's she doing? And it's like some Calvin Harris Met Gala thing, and a whole nother rabbit hole that you have to go down.
Oh, it's like following a true crime podcast and trying to figure out who killed who and how they did it and connecting the dots, and that's part of the show, the Taylor show of everything that she does, which is why I'm just kind of into it, and I've gotten more progressively into it each year. Um, I was not surprised necessarily at the poll outcome, and I think the one thing, if I was to be kind of surprised, is that for the most part, I even look at indifferent at 42% being kind of a positive thing.
I would agree.
So, for 70, 80, 82, 80, I'm not very good at math, 80% plus to actually have a positive vibe about her or whatever, or they're just indifferent. I'm sure that there's some songs that people are like, oh yeah, but for only 18% to be like, oh, and I think when you break that 18% down, kind of going off of what you were saying, like how can you just hate, like what has she actually done to where you actually hate her?
Or might
I
be
think a
like,
lot of it's just backlash from her popularity and just being out there all the time, and
oh yeah, I mean,
every reel and TikTok is using her song, so you get sick of it, you get tired of it, and I get it.
you're in a profession where like you literally every day that you wake up, like the attitude of billions of strangers that you've never met before is going to dictate how your day goes. And today
Yeah,
they might like you, and tomorrow they might hate you. Like,
yeah,
that sucks, I think. And I go through stages, like, I will use Ed Sheeran as an example. I liked a lot of Ed Sheeran's music at the beginning, and then there's like a middle portion where everything that he put out, I was not picking it up. So I was like,
sure.
it's just not my cup of tea. And then the last couple songs that he's released, like Shivers, I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm back on the Ed Sheeran train. So, I've maybe you fluctuate, but to just say that like you can't stand somebody, I don't know. I don't get it.
Would you be able to sum up your music taste right now,
Uh
or no?
so I
Too hard.
no, I think the best way to describe this is my same friend that like I've been fortunate enough to be gifted Tasteway CDs
Yeah.
from.
Uh-huh.
She works with an organization that's heavily involved in the music industry, the Alley Coalition. You should look it up.
Okay.
But she invites me to a lot of shows that I normally would never go to because 9 times out of 10, I've never heard of these people before. So
Sure.
I actually went to, I think it was a Muna concert with her, and that was like the headliner. And I've never heard of them before, but
I
everybody
haven't either.
else that's there has. And there was an opener for them, and I'm sitting there and I'm like listening to the song and I like it. So I take out my phone and I hit the Shazam button, and I guess I wasn't paying attention because I didn't know that like she was kind of like looking at me over my shoulder, and she's like, I just love that you do that, you know? Like you just show up to like a show that you've never been to before and like something, catches your ear and you're just like, yeah, I'll Shazam it and save it for later. So I just, if I like what I hear, I'll, I'm into it, and I'll explore
Right.
further. So, like I said,
Explain Shazam for some of us that may not know what Shazam is.
so Shazam is an app where Um, if you have a song playing in the background and it's like not stupid loud, like doesn't really work well at a club where
Okay.
everybody's yelling. But if you hit the button, it somehow magically sends something to the internet gods and it'll like return the artist and the name of the song for you. So you can save it for later or whatever. And it
Okay.
keeps
So like
it
if
keeps
my
a
mom was out
history.
and about at the grocery store and WAP were to come on and she's like, ooh, I kind of like this song, and
Yeah.
she's pulls out her phone and Shazam, and she'll be, oh, this is WAP.
Yes. That's an interesting song choice for your mom. I'm gonna drink to that.
Well, there you go. Well, I've got so I'm also kind of curious. So one of the other things that kind of got me involved a little more with Taylor within the last few years, and this is probably my first foray into when I was like, I want to pick up that record also, was the whole thing with Jake Gyllenhaal and the sweater or what the
Cardigan.
red what cardigan
Yeah, well, the cardigan was the sweater that you're probably thinking of. But
that she
yeah.
left at his sister's house or something, and then there was this 10-minute version of a song, and I was like, okay, now I've got to go check this out because I'm hearing people kind of talking about it or whatever, and I think she went on SNL and then she played it there, and I was like, I kind of like the song. And then I listened to the 10-minute version, and then I got caught up in the whole drama of her and Jake and everything, and then all of a sudden he had to kind of,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, oh shit,
She's too
all
young
he
for me,
likes are girls that are
bro.
like
But
30
also,
years younger or
yeah.
something.
So they were a thing, and then she was too young for him, but then he started dating somebody else that was younger than her, and it was a big deal. And I mean, she, I think she's said on multiple occasions that she does not know how to take a joke and doesn't take criticism well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's, I guess, just her way of lashing out, is like, I'm gonna just get my revenge on you through this song that's beautiful and lasts
Do
10
you think
minutes.
do you think all of this is part of the show business for her? Like everybody, if whoever she dates and then she writes a song about, they all know this, she'll write a song. Or do you think there is a little bit of a malicious, like, maybe she shouldn't do it? Like, do you have a take on that?
I mean, so working in marketing and being in PR in the past, there's got to be some kind of PR angle to everything. Because even in her documentary, there is a part where um, she had talked about how like she openly never spoke about politics because like it was just easier, to maintain her image. And every time somebody would ask her like, "How are you going to vote?" She's like, "I'm just privileged enough to have the right to vote, but I'm a 22-year-old singer and nobody really wants to hear my views about politics. They just want to hear me sing." Right? So like that was the spin. But then there was an incident where there was like a radio DJ or something, and they were taking a picture together, and supposedly, well, since then it's been like they ruled in her favor, but he like shoves his hand up her dress or whatever, and like, sexually assaulted her, and she changed her view about speaking on politics after that because um, so when her family moved to Tennessee or whatever, the person that was running for senator or governor or whatever at the time uh, was like not in agreement with her political views, and she's like, I've just been like muzzled for so long that after what's happened to me, I I don't want to be anymore, and I want to speak out about it. So
And was that on that situation, that specific one that you're talking about? Didn't they have like either photo or video,
they had a photo of it,
something like
and
that?
then there were like 7 witnesses also that had actually seen it happen. So yes, they ruled in her favor, and after that, like, there was like there were several songs that she wrote like that were very political about how she felt
Mm-hmm.
on certain things. So,
And then like the
and I her
the amount that she won or something, it wasn't like
oh she
it's like
so
a
he sued her for like millions of dollars, and she countersued for $1.
right,
$1.
right. Okay, I remember
Because
that.
she just
Yeah,
wanted to be like, fuck you, dude. Like,
yeah.
you know? So is some of the stuff that she does for publicity? Probably. Like there's a big thing about she had written like a tweet, or like, well, I guess it was a letter to like Apple Music, and they're all like, "Oh, it was just a PR stunt, because it was good for them and it was good for her." Is it true? I don't know, but in her documentary, when the political thing comes up, there are clips of like her sitting in a room with her team and like her parents, and she's arguing with her dad, and he's like, you just shouldn't talk about stuff like this. Like, we're concerned for your safety, whatever. And she's just like, I'm just done not talking about it. Like, I need to do this for me, and I'm not just, I need you to forgive me, Dad, kind of thing.
So most of the people that you hang out with, let's say your friends or whatever, do they have similar music tastes, and are they into Taylor Swift as well? Or are you kind of like, is it not
Uh,
necessarily a joke, but they're just like,
I hang out with mostly guys because I live in the country, and those are like the only people near my age or whatever. So
mhm.
we have like similar music tastes when it comes to like country music or like, rock music or whatever. But I'll sneak in the occasional pop song or something that's like catchy, and they're not like, I would never say that they're Swifties, but I'm pretty sure that I could drag somebody to a concert and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'll go."
I mean, they're probably, would you say, at least indifferent, and be like, well, if you
Definitely.
enjoy listening and if you guys are hanging out, because that's another thing that I found, like with her albums. I don't know if I necessarily have like a favorite song or whatever, but I know that of the ones that I have, I can just play the record and just play through the whole thing, and it's all good stuff.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I don't think anybody that I'm friends with like hates it. And I could probably name maybe three or four people that I know like love it like I do. But most of them are like, if she comes on, like, I'm not gonna press skip, but I'm not like, they might not go out of their way to be like, Alexa, play Midnight Rain.
No, I totally get it. So on the new album, and you said that it's not necessary, it's not the upbeat pop that you kind of like some of her other songs or whatever, but is there a couple on there that you're like, I kind of like?
I like almost all of the entire thing. And I think this is against popular opinion. A lot of people I know are like, I love vigilante shit, and I'm like, that's my least favorite one, dude. Like, I don't know. It's just
And why is that? Because I think it's kind of it's a different sound
that's
on the
I
album.
think
It's,
that's
you know what
it.
I'm saying?
Like, I'm just not. Midnight Rain is my favorite. But I like Sweet Nothings. I would say vigilante shit, and then probably like Labyrinth and maybe even Lavender Haze are like my bottom three for that
Yeah.
record. I just,
And but that's not bad, because you, like you said, you like them all, but if
yeah,
you were ranking
right.
them,
Yeah, I would not like skip any of them, but I would definitely play them in a specific order. If I wanted to
you
fall
wouldn't
asleep,
play it in Taylor's order that she has it on
I
her
would not.
album.
Would not. I always skip. I'll play Maroon. I'll skip Lavender Haze. I'll play Maroon, and then I'll let it play for like the next till Vigilante shit.
But see, I think that's the digital way of doing it. But when you put the actual record on, you have to listen to it the way that she recorded it, that she wants you to listen
Right,
to it.
right. And I actually, my friend that is really into Fall Out Boy, we were having a discussion one time, and it was like a group of us, and she was like, if you could pick like from any Fall Out Boy song ever, like if you could make your own set list for a concert, like what would it be? And like, so we all submitted like what we would what we would do a set list of for Fall Out Boy songs, and it was really kind of cool to see where everybody was at, because nobody had the same closer. And they were like, "Oh my
Right.
God, like you would close with like Alone Together or whatever." Like, wow, that's just yeah. I'm like, yeah, I would be the tearjerker. I would.
That's the fun part of talking with other people that have kind of a passion for the same artist in that case, and you're kind of ranking things, or how would you put it in a certain set order or whatever. I think that would be kind of fun. One of the more current things that I've seen on Reddit regarding Midnights, and you get people that everybody has their own opinion about stuff. And one of the things I know that some people were getting on to this latest album of hers is the fact that she was saying, dropping fuck here and there, and just like her language is getting so dirty or something. And I kind of just roll my eyes at things like that. And I don't know why she is like, to those people that are complaining about it, her music is maturing. As we mature, our language kind of matures also. And I don't think necessarily she's just throwing out the word fuck just to throw it out there. I think it fits into either how she talks, or not like she's swearing like a sailor all the time, but
Hmm.
a lot of us throw words out like that in real life anyways. And I don't understand why it's held against her all of a sudden to where, well, she can't
I
use words like that in some songs?
I think she started out as like so wholesome, and it's been an evolution, right? But she gets knocked for saying fuck. Meanwhile, you can say wet ass pussy. Sorry, mom. And like nobody cares because like they do it all the time. Like that's probably PG compared to most of the shit that they say. So I think it's cool. More power to her, man. She should just release a song that's like all swear words and piss off everybody.
Her next song will be like wetter ass pussy or something.
God.
If she was just throwing it out just to say the word fuck, then I'd be like, yeah, I mean, when I listen to the songs, they fit. It just fits. It's just part of the, like you were talking before about the poetry, and I think that it just makes the song relate better
Yeah,
to
I
me.
mean, and
You know what I'm saying?
if it's truly like channeling her inner emotions about a certain thing, like maybe it does piss her off to the part where she
Right.
just says fuck or shit or
Yeah.
whatever.
So it doesn't bother you.
Oh no, absolutely
Okay.
not. I just it's I think like you said before, at the beginning her demographic was like younger generation girls, so maybe she couldn't piss off the moms and whatever, and now that she's older, I mean 32, like somebody's really gonna censor you for saying fuck.
So, and I don't know if we necessarily answered that question from earlier. Do you think she appeals to young girls now, or that's just not her demographic?
Um,
I just don't see young girls. Not that I don't run around in that crowd. My kids are
yeah,
teenagers, but even
right.
preteens, I don't see them.
I don't
Are they?
I don't either. Like so back in the day, like we're never getting back together. Like I could totally see a high school girl being like, "Wee," after
Yeah.
a breakup or whatever, but now like on this album, I don't really think that there's anything like younger girls would be like, "Yeah, I can totally relate to that." Maybe. I mean, if they find the song catchy. Lyric-wise, I don't know. And I don't
Right.
know if they're actually listening to lyrics either. Maybe they are just listening for a good tune.
Which, I mean, a lot of people do. I do sometimes also, but I kind of think that her audience has kind of grown with her. You had mentioned before we started recording here, you're working on a podcast where your friends were talking like Harry Potter or something. So
Yes.
that audience that followed Harry Potter when they first started, we were all young kids when we first started, but then as the movies went on, as the books went on, that audience also got older. That's how I kind of view her audience and
Mhm.
demographic, but I do think it's wide because, well, shit, I mean, I'm 47, and then I'm sure there's a wide range of people that still kind of, follow her. And she obviously has a huge influence no matter what she
I
does.
think so, for sure. I mean, there have been like people that I've heard say like she is the music industry. I mean, and she's huge. She really is huge.
Yeah, she wasn't even she was one of the artists that was withholding her songs, right, from streaming.
Yeah. That was a big thing too. She just and that she fought for that, which I think is pretty cool. Like when she has something that she like truly believes in and fights for it, she does make change.
I think this has been a fun podcast, a one-off of just talking about Taylor Swift. And you said there's many different levels of Swiftie, so I'll give you that, okay? And then I'm a casual fan that is coming on kind of late, but I kind of get involved with. I enjoy the record collecting and some of the drama that goes with her. Are you going to be going to the concert that's coming up? I know a lot of people have been trying to get
Dude,
tickets for that. She's not coming to St. Louis.
no, but I did wait 5 hours in a imaginary line for the chance to purchase tickets, you know? And
So
if
you don't know yet.
you won't know, I think, until like November 15th if you were chosen or not. And I've done this before with a different band, 21 Pilots, who I really love. They did the same thing, but it was mainly they're from Columbus, Ohio. I'm from Ohio
Okay.
also, but Cleveland. So when they go on tour, they usually play a bunch of bars that they played before they got big. So like very, very small venues. And they will do the same thing. They'll do like a register here for the chance to like be able to purchase tickets to like our dive bar venue. And I've never um been chosen for that, and I've seen 21 Pilots in concert like probably 5 times. I'm just like, what do you mean I'm not chosen? Like, I'm obviously your biggest fan.
Sure.
So, I am hoping to go to the show. I don't know if I'll be
Now,
picked.
are you in a waiting line for a specific location? Like, are you waiting
So
for Kansas City or Chicago or what?
you wait like for the general line just to register, but then they do ask you like what are your top 3 choices. So I hit Kansas City and then I hit Denver because it's a stadium tour and I'm a Broncos fan, so Mile High obviously, but
Cool.
I did not put in number 3 because every time I've done it for 21 Pilots, they're like denied. So I'm like superstitious about it. Like maybe if I just do 2, I'll have a better chance.
Now, if it was a matter of going to see her in concert or not, would you go see her wherever in the continental U.S.?
Depending on
And like, is she that
the
big for
timing.
you to where?
No, I mean, because even like, so if I get a chance to buy tickets for the Arrowhead portion of the tour, like in Kansas City, it's like July fucking 7th. I'm gonna be sweating my ass off. I did it for Motley Crue this year. Their show was in July, like a couple days after my birthday, and I mean, we sat in the fucking sun for 5 hours and just cooked. The show was great.
But would you do it again for Motley Crue?
I would do it again. Oh yeah.
Would you do it for Taylor?
I would, and I'm gonna say I'm sad that it's a stadium thing. I understand why, because she's, so big or whatever, but I would love to see her do like just a very small venue type deal. And she'd probably be like, "Well, I'm not gonna do that because I have these like secret recordings at all my apartments all the time. You just have to be, a
Well, that's why you have your
Swiftie."
friend. Your friend can hook you up
I don't
with
think
one of these.
I'm not sure that I could be hooked up quite like that, but it would be cool. And Taylor, she will say that she Taylurks. So she'll like go on social media and like find all these super fans and whatever and send them like sweet little messages or whatnot or invite them to one of these like secret hearings or screenings or whatever the hell they're called of her albums. Like who would be like, "Hey internet stranger, like come to my house in New York so you can listen to my music with me." Like it's kind of weird, but whatever. I would totally do
Well,
it.
who knows when the podcast drops, she's gonna be like, "What is this Taylor Swift podcast with these two?"
You have to tag her publicist and I think her label or something. There are like 2 accounts that you have to tag if you want to even the remote chance of being seen by her.
Real okay. Well, I'll tell you what. If you don't mind, let me know what I need to tag. So when this goes live, and I'm hoping within a few weeks to have this go live, so I know how to tag it. And then when I put out all the clips and whatnot, we're going to get you in. I want you to go. I don't want. I mean, I think it would be great to go, but I don't want to go on a I certainly don't want to go stand out and be hot or cold.
It's
I'm
gonna
a
be
very
hot
like
and it's gonna be long because every tour date she's got 2 openers, so they'll probably both play for at least 45 minutes plus the breaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just too much. I'm so grumpy nowadays. Every concert I've been
And
to, I
nobody
always
will be
think back and
sitting.
I'm
Like
like,
that's the irony of the entire thing is like you buy a seat at a concert, nobody fucking is sitting. I'm old,
oh,
dude.
see,
Like my back hurts.
that is the same with me. I remember we had gone to a college football game. We went to an Ole Miss football game a few years ago. Well, it was probably like 10 years ago or something. SEC football, everybody, and it just so happened this was like a 5 overtime game. And we were right outside the student section. You know, we drove down from Missouri down to Ole Miss. I'd never been to an Ole Miss game before. It was a fantastic experience. And the entire time, everybody was standing, except for my wife and I. We just sat there, and I just looked at the butts of the people in front of me, and I was like, I don't want to stand for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And this is the same with music, with any place I go. I want to sit. I'm an old guy now. Any concert I want to go to, I want to go where people sit. I want it to be air conditioned.
I
I want
had
there to be just like 50 people. I don't want to be around a whole bunch of people
That's what I'm
either.
saying. She needs to do like a really small venue tour, like for the old people, like a senior citizen show. Like
Well, we'll do the best we can, and then I'm gonna put it all out there for you to go because I think you would enjoy it.
I do love me some Tay Tay.
Where can people find your account if they want to come check you out? You're on Instagram.
I am.
I don't
That's
know
like
which account you want to promote.
I'm just bee squeezing and I'm really boring. If you're
B. Squeezy, right?
yes. And if you don't like hunting, don't come.
Well, we've
'Cause
already kind of determined that even if you don't like hunting, but you're in the garden community and you're having problems with certain squirrels or
critters,
deer,
yes. I'm very good at
critters,
varmint control.
varmint control.
Yes.
Look, I totally understand. No matter what we're all into, you're going to find people that like you, that are indifferent to you, and then absolutely hate what you're doing.
Vomit emoji.
The vomit emoji people. I guarantee you there's probably more than 18% that would associate the vomit emoji with just me, just knowing me. I definitely need one of these days. I may just say, look, I'm going to be gone for a few days. If you just want to come out
The trick
and
is
just take
you're
care
in
of
a
my
suburb,
issues.
man. That's tricky. I have to bust
I
out the
know.
bow for that.
Yeah. You have to be a little sneaky or whatever, nighttime and in and out like a ninja.
Yeah. Turn your patio camera off.
Cameras will go off, lights will go off. I'm sure you probably have some infrared
I
hunting
do have
lights or
night vision
something.
goggles.
See, there you go.
It's for coyotes.
Night vision goggles, but you're wearing like a gaming USB headset with your Surface laptop.
I had
that
to
your
pull some
company gave you.
strings with the IT department today. Times are tough.
Looks like we're getting ready to play a little Call of Duty or something with you.
I was playing Xbox before this.
Were you really?
I was.
What do you play on there?
I like the two-player games because I used to play like Halo back in the day, forever ago. But right now I'm playing Overcooked, and it's like the dumbest fucking game ever. You like
Is it a
basically
shooting game or
no,
what?
you're like a chef, and you just have to like chop shit and cook stuff and like turn it in, and it's like the dumbest game ever, but like super hard. So
That
it's
sounds like games like us old people play. Like there's a little app or a little game on my phone. It's like a sushi chef.
yeah.
And like customers come in and I have to make all the little sushi
Yeah, it'll be
things.
like I
It's
want
so
a sushi
basic.
thing. So it's like you have to put the rice in the pot, and then you have to put the rice paper on the plate, and then you have to
Right.
put like slice a cucumber and put it on there, combine the three, and turn it
Exactly.
in. It's like the dumbest fucking game ever, but I mean, I'm like Gordon Ramsay on this bitch, and the people I'm playing with, I'm like screaming at them, like, God damn it! How did you
Is
not
it
cook the rice?
multiplayer?
It is multiplayer.
Oh my
You can
God.
play online, and the people that play online are fucking ruthless. Like they will boot you from the game if you don't do good in the first round. It's not
Wow.
good if you have like self-esteem issues.
Well, shoot. Maybe that's going to be a podcast ish or a podcast episode down the road or something if I get involved with that.
And I've never
So,
played with a headset purposely because I would just not want to hear the shit that they're yelling at me if I like accidentally fuck something up.
right. Oh, yeah. Well, Karolina, I appreciate you doing this with me. It was fun. I'm glad it was you that was my Taylor Swift Sherpa. And I'm going to go and listen. Actually, I've got two options. One, I can either go to my boys' hockey game, which started like 30 minutes ago, but I think I'm going to miss that. So I may just go upstairs and put on
One of your 4 copies of Midnights. Or
one of the four.
or
What
or
color
all
am I
4.
feeling tonight?
You should listen
I
to
may pull out.
all 4 and then report back if any of them sound slightly different.
I wouldn't be surprised. I actually thought that if you got all 4 copies, that there was like a hidden track or something, but I don't think there is.
There are 7 hidden tracks, but you had to buy the Lavender Edition CD.
Oh, the CD
Yeah.
had the hidden tracks?
Yeah.
Was that like the 3 a.m.
Yeah.
version that they were talking?
Mhm.
Oh, but it's not on vinyl, on record.
Looks like you gotta go shopping, buddy.
I can't even admit. Like, I didn't even tell my wife I did this. Like, I'm waiting.
She'll notice when there's just a clock
I mean,
on
I am
your
going to
wall.
be in so much trouble when she goes over there and my boys will go over and look and they'll be like, oh, did you get a new Taylor Swift album?
Just
Well,
4
what are the other 3 that look exactly like it right next to it?
different languages. Be like, one's in Swedish. It's fine.
Well, I I enjoy it. Like I said, it's almost like art pieces for me, and I do like the album. I do like her latest one. So, all right, well, I will keep you posted on when this goes up. We're kind of done here. Thank you guys for listening to another great episode of the Tossing Salad podcast. I'll tell you what, if you guys like that interview there, we've got a whole bunch of other ones to where we've sat down with people from behind their social media gardening accounts, just kind of getting to know them. Go back, take a listen to a few of those. There may be some people that you guys know and follow, and then there may be some that you guys have no idea who they are. I guarantee you guys are going to like them. If you get the opportunity, toss us a review on one of your podcast platforms, whichever ones you guys listen to. The Tossing Salad podcast is now on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We're working on getting our content up on YouTube and TikTok. But if you can give us a follow there, that'll help out the show. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.